Hello friends, I'm glad you've joined me today. This reading is about 7 minutes. If you've lived in northern Midwest, you've seen snow in the spring, but have you seen a human barefoot print in the spring snow? Last week, even though it was technically spring, it snowed. One day there were several inches and my husband used the snowblower. By Saturday, April 5th, a full 2 weeks and 2 days after the vernal equinox, most of our snow had melted. However, we received a light sprinkling. A couple years ago, I purchased special slippers to wear in the early morning to put my dog outside because I had to walk out to hook her to a tether. I wanted something warm enough to go outside with her in the dead of winter without putting my boots on. So I bought slippers made of leather on the outside and lined with fake fur on the inside. Well, when I saw that light dusting of snow this Saturday, I thought, I bet I can make a bare footprint in the snow like my Grandpa Meinhardt must have seen that morning in 1938. So I took off my slippers and stepped onto our deck, which leads to our boardwalk sidewalk. I purposely made the best barefoot prints I could make. Since it was my backyard, I didn't think anyone else would notice. And here is a picture of the footprints that I made this past Saturday. My husband went outside shortly after I'd made the prints. "Did your feet get cold?" he asked when he came in. But he never asked why I would do such a thing. He might have thought the dog had to go really bad and I wasn't dressed properly. Now I'm going to read you a story that I plan to include in my manuscript about the time Russell woke up in the morning and saw bare footprints on his porch and sidewalk. So after Jeanette grew up, she went to nursing school and she had great empathy for those with mental illness. This may have been where some of that empathy began. And so here we go, bare footprints in the snow. Most mornings, Winifred and Russell got up before the children. In the winter, they made sure the house had warmed up before waking the children. One morning, late in the spring of 1938, Winifred and Russell were awake and getting dressed when they thought they heard a noise on the front porch. Their bedroom was just steps away, but by the time Russell reached the door, no one was there. A light dusting of fresh snow had fallen on the ground. His eyes swept over the porch and on the sidewalk. He saw the prints belonging to a barefoot human on his porch. I'm guessing this is what he saw. His eyes surveyed the neighborhood, and he saw a woman on the sidewalk near Hanson's house. "Russell, where are you going?" Winifred asked. She stood at the door and watched as Russell walked toward the woman. He extended his hand toward her. She wore a light sweater over a house dress and a kerchief on her head. Her lips were turning blue, and she was shivering as Russell brought her in the front door. "Mrs. Grine," Winifred said. She recognized her neighbor. "You're so cold. Let me put you in my bed so you can warm up." Mrs. Grine silently followed Winifred into the bedroom, got into the bed, and Winifred pulled the covers up to her chin. Russell walked upstairs and poked his head in Helen and Jeanette's room. "Breakfast is ready, but come as quietly as you can," Russell said in a soft voice. "Your mother and I invited Mrs. Grine in, and I don't want you to scare her." Then he walked over to the boys' bedroom and told them the same thing. The woman was small and looked bewildered. She lived with her husband and grown daughter, and at times could be heard screaming. The townspeople knew her screams were not due to maltreatment. Her screams scared some people. She had mental problems and was never seen outside the house. Because Russell told the kids not to scare the woman, they stayed in the kitchen and ate the breakfast that Russell had prepared. Jeanette tiptoed into the dining room. From there you could see the parents' bedroom. Jeanette saw the woman sitting on the bed with her feet in a pan of warm water and Winifred on her knees washing Mrs. Brown's feet. The scene reminded Jeanette of the story of Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. Then Jeanette got her coat and cap to go to school. When she got to school, people around town already knew the Meinhardts had brought Mrs. Grine into their house because they had seen Mrs. Grine wandering. "Weren't you scared?" said one of Jeanette's classmates as she reached the schoolyard. "No." More kids gathered around in the coat room and wanted to know about the woman and if anything scary had happened. Mrs. Grine was such a delicate woman. Jeanette wondered why people were afraid. After the kids left for school, Russell walked over to the Grine's place to tell Mr. Grine that his wife was at their house. He also told Mr. Grine to bring shoes and a coat. The only time Jeanette and her siblings saw the Grines was when the father and the adult daughter, Luella, worked in the garden. Years later, Mrs. Grine was sent to St. Peter's State Hospital. Her daughter was so quiet and hadn't been out in society, so she got a job at the state hospital to be near her mother. Whenever the daughter came back to Avoca to visit, she would ask, "How's Mrs. Meinhardt?" And that reminds me of a saying. I've heard it attributed to many people, but there's disagreement who said it. But it says, "People may not remember exactly what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel." Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I have a 20-minute version with added value, and I will put that one in the comments. That one has a couple more stories.